Teams from Edison, Maple Heights, and Monroeville meet on the Nordson Academic Challenge.
Welcome to the Nordson Academic Challenge. And now, here's your host from News 5, Rob Powers.
All right, here we go. Hi, everybody. I am Rob Powers. Welcome to the 53rd season of the Nordson Academic Challenge. Today, the challenge, quite simple. 3 local high school teams compete for points by answering questions. We have math, science, history, other topics as well. The top 5 scoring teams this season will share in a total of $20,000 in grant money from Nordson. The top 3 will then be back in this studio for our championship finale. That's where a grant of $6,000 is up for grabs. We start this morning where we always start. We open with the lightning round. All 3 teams compete in this round. We award 10 points for a correct answer, but we subtract 10 points for an incorrect answer or no answer. Let's start every team with 100 points. Everybody ready? Let's begin this real-life game by seeing if you can identify the following gods, goddesses, and mortals from ancient myths. Associated with Zeus, he was the chief Roman god. Monroeville.
Jupiter.
Jupiter is correct. She was the patient wife of Odysseus. Monroeville.
Penelope.
That is correct. The abduction of this beautiful woman caused the Trojan War. Edison.
Helen.
Helen is correct. The father of Icarus designed the labyrinth. Monroeville.
Daedalus.
That is correct. This Roman sea god names our farthest planet. Monroeville.
Neptune.
That is correct. With the aid of Ariadne, he slew the Minotaur. Monroeville.
Theseus.
That is correct. Everything this king touched turned to gold. Monroeville.
Midas.
That is correct. This queen was both the mother and the wife of Oedipus. Monroeville.
Jocasta.
That is correct. 12 labors were completed by this ancient Maple Heights.
Hercules.
That is correct. And for our final lightning round question, let's hear from Heather Oravec, research engineer at NASA Glenn Research Center.
NASA has an exciting plan to land the first woman on the moon. This program is named for what Greek goddess of the hunt and the moon? She's the equivalent of the Roman Diana.
Answer, Monroeville.
Artemis.
Artemis is correct. Nice round, and that's the end of that round. We'll be back with more Nordson Academic Challenge right after this.
Nordson is honored to sponsor a program that celebrates academic excellence. We're a global industrial technology company with a long and proud history of giving back to the communities where we live and work. We donate 5% of our U.S. pre-tax profit to charity every year. Over the past 30 years, the Nordson Corporation Foundation has donated more than $100 million, and our employees have volunteered more than 100,000 hours. And now, we're pleased to support the legacy of Academic Challenge. Thank you all for watching, and the best of luck to all the participants.
Today's judge from Cuyahoga Community College is Public Relations Manager Anthony Mujayas. Anthony, thanks again for being here this morning. Good to see you. And we welcome you back to the Nordson Academic Challenge. We're going to jump right back into our game this morning with hot picks. One at a time, I ask each team 8 questions. A correct response here is worth 20 points. No penalty for a wrong answer in this round. Any team answering all 8 questions correctly will receive 25 bonus points. Let's start here with Edison. Edison High School is a public 4-year comprehensive school serving the communities of Berlin Heights, Milan, and Erie County. Edison partners with several local universities to offer college courses to students right there on the Edison campus. It has extremely strong programs in drama, music, and art, one of only a few public high schools to offer speech and debate as an extracurricular activity. Edison, for your questions, we go to Devin from Maple Heights. Devin, envelope 1, 2, 3, or 4?
Envelope 3.
3? Okay. Edison, these questions just for you. All set? Here we go. George Washington was already president when the states ratified a group of 10 amendments to the Constitution known by what 3-word name?
Bill of Rights.
That's correct. The first 911 emergency call was made in 1968 in Haleyville, a small town in what southern state whose largest city is Birmingham?
Alabama.
That is correct. In 1848, a U.S. naval officer named William Lynch became the first person to measure the depth of what Middle East sea with a fatal sounding name?
The Dead Sea.
That is correct. Let's go to the monitor. Here is your science question. Sand, one of the most common compounds on Earth, is frequently an oxide of which of these elements?
Silicon.
That is correct. Freedoms of the Seas was one of the principles named in the 1941 Atlantic Charter, signed by Franklin Roosevelt and what World War II British Prime Minister?
Winston Churchill.
That is correct. Few literary characters endure as many imaginative misfortunes as the ever-optimistic Candide, who titles a novel by what 18th century French philosopher? Answer?
Voltaire.
That is correct. Back to the monitor. Here's your math question. Perform the indicated operation, giving your answer as a positive integer.
14.
49 is the answer. 49 is the answer. Natural gas and soybean products are two of the main exports of what South American country whose administrative capital is La Paz?
Bolivia.
That is correct. Nice round, Edison. All right, our second team this morning comes to us from Maple Heights. Maple Heights offers everything from advanced placement to career tech classes. Maple Heights students can participate in extracurricular activities, things like student council, mock trial, and varsity sports as well. Maple Heights, for your questions. Rachel, we go to you. 1, 2, or 4?
1.
Number 1. All right, Maple Heights, these are all for you. Set? Here we go. It wasn't until 1871 that people began to associate February 2nd with what small burrowing animal that supposedly predicts if more winter is ahead?
Groundhog.
That is correct. The horror story Dracula Unbound begins in what U.S. state where Dracula could visit Zion National Park and the Great Salt Lake?
Utah.
That is correct. Dinosaur tracks 200 million years old have been uncovered near the Virginia site of what first major land battle of the Civil War?
No answer.
Bull Run is the answer. That's all right, let's go to the monitor. Here's your science question. When near the horizon, the rising or setting sun appears larger due to what effect of the Earth's atmosphere on the sun's light rays?
Refraction.
That is correct. When Charles Darwin visited the Galapagos Islands, he found tortoises and finches, but not what breed of dog that named his ship. Answer?
No answer.
Beagle. Beagle. To announce his decision not to run for re-election in 2003, a Japanese prime minister wrote what kind of Japanese poem with just 17 syllables?
Haiku.
Haiku is correct. Back to the monitor. Here's your math question. Solve for x if y equals 4.
Ten.
10 is correct. In 2014, a full-sized lake mysteriously appeared in the middle of a desert in what small North African country located between Libya and Algeria?
Nigeria.
Tunisia. Tunisia. All right, Maple Heights, nice round. Our third team this morning, Monroeville. Rooted deep in tradition, Monroeville's foundation is in old-fashioned hard work and service within the community. Hard work seen through the success in academics and athletics, and service is relevant through the school-wide Service Learning Initiative. For your questions, Monroeville, all the way back to Allison from Edison, we have 2 or 4?
2.
2. All right, Monroeville, again, these questions are all yours. All set? Here we go. The ancient Greek playwright Aeschylus supposedly died when a tortoise was dropped on his head by what bird, the symbol of the United States?
Eagle.
Eagle is correct. A priest in the Middle Ages described as an invention of the devil what navigation device that includes a magnetized needle pointing north?
A compass.
That is correct. A volcanic mountain 3 times the height of Mount Everest exists on what planet fourth from the sun?
Mars.
That is correct. To the monitor, here's your science question. An alkali metal will combine directly with a halogen to form which of these?
An acid.
A salt. A salt. American couples might be interested to learn that the groom's family usually pays for the wedding in what Southeast Asian kingdom whose capital is Bangkok?
Thailand.
Thailand is correct. Caterpillars become butterflies through what process that Franz Kafka used to title his story about a man who turned into an insect? Answer?
No answer.
Metamorphosis. Back to the monitor. Here's your math question. Evaluate this expression, giving your answer as a positive integer.
2.
2 is correct. Environmentalists are concerned that heavy metals are polluting the sources of fresh water in what Central American country whose capital is Tegucigalpa. I knew I was going to do that. Tegucigalpa.
No answer.
Honduras is the answer. Way to go, Monroeville. Nice job, everybody. That's the end of that round. We'll be back with more questions and more answers coming up right after this. Welcome back to the Nordson Academic Challenge. Before we start our next round, let's take a look at the scores so far. We're in the middle of a good one right now with 210 points in third place, the team from Maple Heights, with 250 points. In second place, Edison, leading the way right now with 280 points, is the team from Monroeville. Look how tight we are this morning. Time to go head-to-head once again in the picture-perfect round. Each correct answer here is worth 10 points. But for a wrong answer or no answer, we will take away 10 points. Again, this is for all three teams. Hands on your buzzer, eyes on the big monitor. Everybody set? Here we go. Cola nuts, which gave their name to cola drinks, are a source of what stimulant, also found in coffee, tea, and chocolate? Edison.
Caffeine.
That is correct. This structure was built during what lengthy war fought between France and England? Maple Heights.
100 Years' War.
That is correct. This is the flag of what South Pacific nation where Wellington is the capital? Edison.
New Zealand.
That is correct. Of these decimal expressions, which one has the greatest value? Edison.
0.30.
That is correct. This is the USS Maine, which was blown up in the harbor of what capital city of Maple Heights?
No answer.
Havana is the answer. Havana. Choice here, which of these substances is an ionic crystal? Maple Heights.
Table salt.
That is correct. Amsterdam is threaded with canals, one of which connects the city to what sea with a directional name? Maple Heights.
North Sea.
North Sea is correct. In this issue of Cleveland Magazine, we learned about a local Baroque orchestra named after what Greek god of music, prophecy, and the sun? Monroeville.
Apollo.
Apollo is correct. That's the end of that round. We'll be back with more Nordson Academic Challenge right after this. Time now to welcome our team advisors. First, we have Sarah Rohn from Edison. From Maple Heights, it's Dan Kabalik. And from Monroeville, please welcome Laura Rapogel. Thank you all for being here. Great to see you. Having a good morning. Now it's time to mix it up. One at a time, I'll ask each team 6 questions. A correct response here is worth 20 points. No penalty for a wrong answer, and any team answering all 6 questions correctly in this round will receive 25 bonus points. Set? Edison, you're up first. Inside of a riddle, see if you can find hidden in this phrase the name of what capital city of Spain?
Madrid.
That is correct. Which of these words best expresses the idea of connivance?
Contempt.
Collusion. Collusion. Please rearrange the letters here to name what so-called revolution that changed England from an agricultural to a manufacturing economy in the 18th and 19th centuries.
Industrialist. Industrial.
Industrial is correct. We'll take it. Please fill in the blanks here to name the structure covering the lens of the eye.
Cornea.
Cornea is correct. Rearrange these three inventions in chronological order.
Radar, camera, predator drone.
Camera, radar, drone. Sorry, wrong. This proverb is voiced in what European country whose capital is Warsaw?
Poland.
Poland is correct. Nice round, Edison. Okay, Maple Heights, you're up. All set? Here we go. Hidden within this phrase is the name of what American river, the longest tributary of the Mississippi?
Missouri.
Missouri is correct. If you're doing something in a sneaky, secret manner, you are acting in which of these ways?
Surreptitiously.
Surreptitiously, yes. You can rearrange the letters here to name what international organization that was the forerunner of the United Nations?
The League of Nations.
League of Nations is correct. Fill in these blanks. You can name what outer layer of your skin?
Epidermis.
Epidermis is correct. These three items are listed in alphabetical order. Arrange them in the order in which they were invented.
Telescope, radio, microchip.
That is correct, and that was big because this is for the bonus points. This optimistic proverb comes from what Asian country where major cities include Kyoto and Yokohama?
Japan.
Japan is correct for the bonus points. All righty. Way to go, Maple Heights. Monroeville, you're up. All set? Here we go. Within this phrase, you can find the hidden name of what North African country whose capital is Tripoli?
Libya.
Libya is correct. If you made a cursory search of some files, that search could best be described by which of these words?
Superficial.
That is correct. You can rearrange these letters to name what sort of ancient writing material which the Egyptians made out of plants.
Papyrus.
That is correct. Do us a favor, fill in the blanks here to name what bone found in the forearm. Answer?
No answer.
Radius. Radius. These three men spent some very productive time in their workshops. Arrange them in chronological order.
Thomas Edison, Steve Jobs, James Watt.
Watt, Edison, Jobs. Sorry about that. This political philosophy was expressed by Gamal Nasser, who in 1952 overthrew the government of what North African country whose capital is Cairo?
Egypt.
Egypt is correct. Way to go, Monroeville. Oh, my golly. Wait till you see these scores. That's the end of this round. We'll be back with our final and deciding grab bag round right after this. All right, here we go. Welcome back to the Nordson Academic Challenge. Before we continue, let's recap the scores right now. It's a tight game. In third place with 360 points, the team from Edison. In second place with 370 points, the team from Monroeville. And leading the way right now with 375 points, the team from Maple Heights. We are so tight. But now it's time for the grab bag round. In this free-for-all, each correct answer is worth 20 points. A team will lose 20 points for a wrong answer or no answer. We do have some visual questions. Watch out. They're worth 30 points. Again, be careful because the wrong answer will cost you 30 points. Again, this is for all three teams. Everybody set? Here we go. The college custom of wearing class rings first gained acceptance at what academy? Where Ulysses Grant graduated with the class of 1843. Edison.
West Point.
West Point is correct. An old Gaelic phrase meaning little body gives us what name for the little people who populate Irish myth? Edison.
Leprechaun.
That is correct. In 2013, a 47-story building was erected in Spain with one small problem. They forgot to include what device associated with Alicia Otis? Answer? They forgot the elevator. The Smithsonian displays this flag that dates from what war whose heroes include Zachary Taylor? Edison.
The War of 1812.
The Mexican War. The Mexican War. In developing the airplane, the Wright brothers experimented with airflow, using what two-wheeled vehicles they sold at their shop in Dayton, Ohio? Edison.
Bicycles.
That is correct. What is the largest prime factor of 125? Answer is 5. Poet Emma Lazarus described the Statue of Liberty as a hopeful new version of what huge statue of Helios in ancient Rhodes? Monroeville.
Colossus of Rhodes.
Colossus is correct. Look at this and speak up here. Identify this as a proverb from what country whose capital is Yerevan? Answer is Armenia. There's a lot of misery in the novel Les Miserables by what French author? Maple Heights?
Hugo.
That is correct. One Illinois poll chose as the state's top all-time scientist what immigrant Italian physicist who had created the first nuclear reactor? Monroeville.
Nikola Tesla.
Enrico Fermi. Fermi is the answer. Mark Twain's sequel to Tom Sawyer was what book about Tom's friend, Edison? Don't. All right, that's the final buzzer. We leave it there. We go to the scoreboards right now. In third place this morning with 370 points, the team from Monroeville. In second place today with 390 points, the team from Edison. And the winner of this morning's academic challenge with 395 points, it's the team from Maple Heights. Wow, what a game. Congratulations, man. Be sure to join us next time. We'll feature teams from Sandy Valley, Southeast, and St. Vincent St. Mary. I'm Rob Powers. We will see you soon for another Nordson Academic Challenge. After further review, some scores have been adjusted, which did not affect the outcome of this game.
This has been the Nordson Academic Challenge.